Well, Hollywood at a crossroads tonight. Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass announcing they're teaming up to bring a massive $750 million tax credit to try and lure film and television production back to L.A. But with California's budget in crisis, some question, is this too little, too late? This is all happening as Paramount settles its controversial lawsuit with 60 Minutes over an interview with former vice presidential candidate Kamala Harris, as its blockbuster merger with Skydance faces fierce scrutiny and conflicts of interest. Among them, TikTok's potential sale to billionaire and Trump ally Larry Ellison, whose son runs Skydance, all raising questions about tech, power, and privacy. And of course, today's Sean Diddy Combs' verdict. Is it forcing a reckoning in the music industry? All big headlines for a city built on media, right? Where the stakes have never been higher. Joining us to break it all down is Variety's executive editor, Michael Schneider. That is a lot to deal with today. Michael, thanks for being on the Rush Hour.
I thought it was a holiday week, Giselle. What's going on
here? Not in Tinseltown with so much on the line. So listen, Governor Newsom, Mayor Bass, you heard it, proposing $750 million in tax credit for film and TV. Is this enough to reverse the tide of productions leaving California, or is it too little, too late?
Well, hopefully it's not too little too late. I think it's a start. It's something that was desperately needed in this business and something that people were really, really campaigning hard for. And so it's good news for this industry that's had nothing but bad news over the past several months. This will allow for more investment of more productions, hopefully returning to LA. The next step, of course, now is for the media production companies to actually make good on their promise to bring back more of those productions now that they have been offered bigger tax breaks. And now it's also up to the city to sort of figure out ways to improve the permitting process and a lot of the other issues that productions are still saying really is a detriment to keeping productions here in Los Angeles.
Red tape and a lot of expense, more so than other states. And given the state's budget deficit and cuts to public services happening right now, how do you justify such a massive investment in Hollywood? And what would you say is the political calculus behind it? Is this because President Trump threatened to step in and tax all foreign film production?
Well, that's a separate issue. And honestly, today I was at the press conference that Governor Newsom was at, and he actually still extended a little bit of an olive branch to the Trump administration, saying that, the fact that they are talking about a national tax credit for productions and keeping productions in the country, as opposed to so many more runaway productions are now heading overseas to Eastern Europe, to Australia, et cetera, that there's an opportunity to work together and to keep more productions here in the U.S. in addition to California and Los Angeles. So the debate over whether or not this is worth it, well, this is an industry that really built California, is what he said. And it's very important to just the overall health of this state to make sure that production is still healthy here.
Yeah, and bring that business back. Let me ask you as well about Paramount's $16 million settlement with President Trump over the 60 Minutes segment. This comes, as you know, as the company seeks approval for the controversial Skydance merger. What do you make of this, Michael? And what does it say about the intersection right now of media, politics, and business?
Oh, it's hugely concerning. This sets a really bad precedent, I think, especially for the administration trying to strong arm more media companies as well. This sends a sign that the administration can get away with basically holding, dangling deals, approvals, weaponizing the FCC, et cetera, in order to, get a pound of flesh from all of these companies. And so I think that's why you're seeing today a lot of folks within the journalism community very concerned about what this means for the First Amendment.
Yeah, and the legacy, 60 Minutes. Sherry Redstone at the center of all of it. She stands to make billions in this deal, but faces a lot of scrutiny from those journalists you just mentioned who feel she's stabbing the First Amendment in the gut for personal gain. What is the fallout for her?
Yeah, I mean, the follow for her is she gets her deal now. This was a lot of this, as much as they protest that it had anything to do with each other. I think everyone knows that there was a little bit of quid pro quo here. And the idea was as soon as they managed to finish the settlement with the Trump administration, they can finally move forward with the Skydance approval of acquiring Paramount Global. And then at that point, Sherry Redstone heads off into the sunset with billions of dollars. So that's sort of where we stand now. Now we await approval of this mega deal.
Yeah, so much to unpack there. We'll have you back on to talk about that Paramount deal. I want to ask you about the Diddy trial. It's reignited the Me Too debates in music and hip hop. Does this case mark a true turning point, do you think, for accountability in the industry?
Hard to say because each one of these cases are very different. I think a lot of folks were surprised today, although P. Diddy, managed to, still be found guilty on a couple of charges, some of the more serious charges. He wasn't, and I think that surprised a lot of folks today. He was looking at life in prison, and now, depending on what sort of plea deal or deal that he makes, he may be out there, back running his business in a few years. And I think for a lot of folks who, are really looking for accountability, this was a huge disappointment today.
All right, and before I let you go, I have to ask you about Brad Pitt's huge hit, F1, $153 million and counting in the global box office. Apple, how is this shaking up the industry?
This is huge for Apple. This is the huge blockbuster that they've been waiting for and hoping for. And so, big blockbuster movies, that's good for the industry regardless of who's producing it. It's good for the theater owners as well. It's a fun ride. I had a chance to watch it over the weekend, and that's exactly what you expect an F1 movie starring Brad Pitt to be. And so I think in general, this kind of success is just good for the industry.
And it's a part of a revolution, right? Well, I wish we had hours more to discuss all that's going on in business in Hollywood. Michael Schneider from Variety, thank you so much for being on the Rush Hour.
See you next time.
All right.